Miss Osson, I am so proud to call you my cousin. Thank you
Yes.
for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those who doesn't know who you are, let me give you a brief hypnosis. Sassy Bernie, with your hands on your hips. To many, it's Miss Bernie. Miss Bernie is an early childhood educator, a mother of two, and now a 49-year-old breast cancer survivor. Her journey is one of soul searching, fighting, and ultimate triumph as she is now cancer free. Praise the Lord. In celebration of being cancer free, she will walk again in the Making Stride Against Breast Cancer walk as a team leader. She hit the ground running with this cancer, and a survivor for the first time this year on Saturday, October 28th, 2023. Those of you in Orlando, you can get in touch with her and walk for the cause. If anyone could fight cancer, I know it would be my cousin Bernadette. She is feisty. She's often, the family makes fun of her height, but my God, she's a powerhouse. Welcome, Bernie. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for saying yes and coming in with this bright, beautiful smile to talk about your journey. Let's start with, how did you find out you had cancer?
Well, I felt the lump, I want to say in September, and, and just putting on lotion, and I felt the lump and I was like, okay. But I didn't think anything of it because, we women, things happen, and I was just not really thinking anything of it.
Mm-hmm.
As weeks gone by, I've noticed that the lump has gotten bigger. So then I was like, oh, okay. Now this is September. In October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I was like, you know what? Let me just get this lump looked at. And during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, they typically have free screenings, free mammograms. So I called up a place and they ask you these questions, these pre-screening questions. They asked me the pre-screening questions. And one of the questions was, do you have a lump? Do you feel a lump? And I said, yes. And they were like, oh, well, you're going to need to go to your doctor. I'm not eligible to get a free screening. So I did. I was like, okay, let me make an appointment with my doctor, went in to my gynecologist, had my regular exam, and then he too felt the lump. And he said, okay, I'm going to send you to have your mammogram done. And literally, it's across the street from my doctor's office. So I went across the street and I gave them the script for my mammogram to be done. Again, remember, this is in October. And she says, well, I don't have anything until like November 18th. And I look at her and I'm like, you do see, like, they see something, like there's a lump there. She's like, yes, I don't have anything until November 18th. And I was like, fine. I took the appointment. And for whatever reason, on my drive leaving, I pulled over and I said, you know what, let me call the hospital and see if I could get in sooner. So at that point, I called Advent Health, and I had a date that was a bit sooner than what the imaging place told me. So I honestly kept both dates just in case somebody canceled or whatever may happen happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that October, I just went on my merry life. I'm a curriculum director at a private school. So I am, planning our fall festival. I'm the lead for the breast cancer walk, getting t-shirts done, fall pictures, you name it. October was definitely busy for me. And I was planning my birthday as well.
I
wanted,
knew that.
yes, I wanted to do something nice and big for my birthday. So I was planning my birthday as well. So I was busy and just waiting. Now, November comes and I go in and I have the mammogram done at Advent Health. And the lady comes out and she says, "You have a lump." And I said, "Yeah." She says, "You have a mass." I said, "Yeah." And she's looking at me. "Do you understand what I'm saying?" "I do understand what you're saying. I have a lump." If hindsight was 2020, trust me, I would have understood what she was saying. But I was like, "Yeah, I have a lump. I have a mass." She said, "Well, we're going to need to do a biopsy." "Okay." And she says, "Do you understand what I'm saying?" "I understand what you're saying."
So did you ever think that it could have been cancer? Or were you in denial?
I was not in denial, and I never thought it was cancer. I knew I had a lump. I knew they would need to do a biopsy to see what it was. I honestly figured it's a cyst that just needs to come out.
Okay.
That's how faithful I was. I knew it's a cyst that needs to come out. And then she said, "Okay, so we're going to set it up. The breast care navigator will call you to set up the biopsy." And I said, "Okay." I want to say this was on a Tuesday. Wednesday, they called me to set up for the biopsy. And I was definitely concerned. I was like, "Well, how much is this going to cost?" And she said, She said, "You know what? We have a sponsorship that we can cover the costs. I'm going to set you up with someone and you'll speak with that person and we'll set it up." I said, "Oh, okay." I spoke with that person later on that day. She told me exactly what she needed. She needed a letter from me. And she says, "This usually takes about 5 weeks, but I'll see what I can do." I said, "Okay." She called me back that day. She said, "I got approved. And you're going to go have your biopsy done on Thursday." I was like, "Oh, okay, not a problem." So I went ahead, got my biopsy done on Thursday. When I went to get my biopsy done, the nurse there was really nice, really clear. She explained everything to me to the point that I did not have not one question. She literally explained it to me like I was a 3-year-old. I did not have one question. At the end, she said, "Do you have any questions?" And I said, "Well, yes. Will the doctor know if it's cancer?" And she says, "Listen, he's going to come in, he's going to do this, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. When he goes to the table, he's going to ask you a question. And that's when you can ask him." I said, "Not a problem." So when he came in, he did everything that she said he would do. So I was smiling. And then he says, "Do you have any questions?" And in my head, I'm like, "Oh my God, he's not at the table. So do I ask the question or not?" And then I say to him, "Yes, I do have a question. Will you know if it's cancer?" And he says, "Do you want me to tell you?" I said, "Yes." He was like, "Okay." He did what he needed to do. He did the biopsy. And then when he was done, he says, "I don't know what it is, but I do know it needs to come out." I said, "Fair enough." And I was fine. I went home, had the weekend normal, and then the call came on Monday. So on Monday, I was sitting in a meeting in the office, and I knew it was my doctor's office calling, so I took the call. And my gynecologist said, "You have invasive carcinoma." Then I'm like, "Excuse me?" He says, "You have breast cancer." in your left breast. There's nothing else I can do for you. You would need to see somebody else. And he said, I have your paperwork here and you can come and get it. I said, okay.
Wow. From that point on, I know I don't remember who told me about it, who told me that Bernadette has breast cancer. I'm like, what Bernadette? Who Bernadette? But I remember calling you and with your usual, hi, cuz, how are you? Fabulous. I said, I think they made a mistake. She doesn't have breast cancer. So the whole process to me was amazing, the way you carry on with grace, with strength, with courage. And here's what amazed me about this. While you're doing this, you mentioned how busy you were with your work. Andrew, your son, was graduating high school. Anybody knows that last year is a beast for a senior.
Yes.
A senior that's involved in extracurricular.
Correct.
And then you were going through a divorce. That was around the same time all this is happening. And I'm like, and she's still smiling. So I say all that to say, I think I was more affected emotionally for you, but because you have this outlook on life, okay, I'm just gonna go on and do what I have to do, I had to catch up with you. I couldn't get my emotion get the best of me. So tell me, what is your secret sauce for that? Because it has to be something special.
Wow, that's a very good question. I can't say I have a secret sauce. I think it's just who I am. You know, life.
You have to know where your strength comes from.
My strength comes from God. My strength comes from God because He has never let me down. Even when I think He has let me down, He has not let me down. It comes from Him because if I could wake up the next day, if I wake up the next day, that means I'm still fighting. I'm still here. What is it that the Haitians say? Pitom led muela.
And so there's nothing led about you, girl.
So it was like pitom led muela. Like
pitom led muela. I'm here. I'm still here. I'm still gonna kick this thing.
I'm still here. And that's exactly what it was. I'm still here. I woke up the next day. He has blessed me with so many things. So it's just like, okay. And that's why I say he's my favorite, because, you know, when he gives it to me, he just gives it all. And, you know, I would tell him like, dude, and this is me talking to God, like, don't you have other kids? Like, am I the only one? Like, I don't mind sharing. You're just giving me too much. You know, you trust me too much. But I think that's what it is. He trusts me with it. So let me catch it.
Wow. How did this happen, first of all? The Good Morning America piece.
Amantha, who grew up with Brianna, works for Good Morning America. And they, of course, October is coming, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And some people are shy to share their story. Some people I mean, and I don't judge.
Mhm.
It's personal and
Right.
it's raw. And she asked me, would I mind sharing my story? And I said, sure, not a problem. And she had a producer call me. Now, with these things, you never know if they're going to accept your story. If they're not, what they're going to do, it could be just a little blurb. And when they called, I happened to be going through treatment. And she called and she said, hey, do you have time right now so we can talk? I said, sure. I'm doing my immunotherapy. I have nothing but time. So I'm sitting in a chair at the hospital and we're having a conversation. And, I tell her my story. And I think a day or 2 days later, or then probably was the next day, they said, we're going to go with your story. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was
Wow.
really surprised. And, Amanda said, yes, the producer loved you and would like to do the story. I said, not a problem. And then they asked, were there any pictures that you could share? I'm like, were they? I had begun documenting my journey early on once I found out. And I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I really had no clue what I was going to do with my pictures, my video. I just knew I wanted to document it.
I remember
And
asking you, I said, Bernie, take notes, write down have a journal, write down, like, I was really thinking of a book, but it seems like you take on this, you are gonna be featured in the hospital newsletter. You are already featured there. You went to Good Morning America. You're gonna be on the newspaper. You're doing a show here, you're doing a show there. So it's taking a life of its own, and it's so amazing to see, because who else to tell your story better than you? It just amazing. When I saw this thing on Good Morning America, I was like, oh my God. So let's share Good Morning America's piece with everybody else. Let's do this.
Breast cancer accounts for about 30% of all new cancers for women. For Black women, that diagnosis often comes at a later stage than for others. Deborah Roberts has more on the disparity. A very, very personal story for her. Good morning, Deb.
Good morning, Robin. Yeah, I'm here for my overdue breast cancer screening. Like a lot of women, I put off my exams. But my doctors, my team, Drs. Cassell, Dr. Mitnick, and Dr. Tashman don't want to hear that. They want me triple screened for breast cancer, which includes a mammogram, a sonogram, and today an MRI. I am at higher risk because I have a family history and I'm a woman of color. And that's a combination I now personally know can be deadly.
Breast cancer awareness is paramount for my sisters and me. In 2009, we lost Benny to the disease at age 56. Then, in 2019, Janet was diagnosed too. After chemo and radiation, thankfully, she's now cancer-free. But our worries haven't gone away. Bernadette Osson knows that feeling.
my mortality was right there in my face.
In 2021, like Janet, she was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma, and she soon learned that age and lifestyle are not predictors for breast cancer.
I don't eat red meat. I was walking 4 miles a day.
Then another sobering discovery. Black women are 41% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women, despite having similar incidence rates.
Incidence rates of breast cancer among Black women, coupled with the fact that Black women are more likely to get biologically aggressive patterns of the disease, has resulted in a widening of the mortality gap.
For 20 years, Dr. Lisa Newman has been researching key socioeconomic, genetic, and systemic race disparities that compounded stack high against Black women.
We have done leaps and bounds with breast cancer research. It is not a death sentence. It is actually a life sentence.
And as Bernadette, a single mom of 2, knows, early detection is key.
My treatment's done. This course is run. And I am on my way.
After chemo this summer, she's turning the page. But that's not the case for so many other Black women, Newman says.
Poverty rates, likelihood of being underinsured, these all result in delays in making a breast cancer diagnosis, inadequate treatment, incomplete treatment.
So survivors like Donna Robinson, in remission 11 years, have found a calling.
The story that captured me was a young Black girl that was going through chemotherapy, and she didn't have transportation, and she would go for her chemo treatment and catch the bus and ride home.
In St. Louis, Missouri, where the Black-white disparity in breast cancer death is among the 5th highest in the country, Donna's giving new meaning to purpose-driven.
Treatment is hard. It's hard emotionally, it's hard physically.
She's a volunteer with the American Cancer Society's Road to Recovery, a program pairing cancer patients in need of transportation with drivers like herself.
If one person's heart is a little lighter, I've done something that makes volunteering worthwhile.
But not all disparities are financial.
Systemic racism affects all aspects of society, including public health. And it unfortunately remains true that there are some pretty appalling disparities in delivery of breast cancer care.
My first experience was not enjoyable.
It's why the Mitchell sisters out of Arkansas are embracing the Grabbing Their Girls campaign and taking on health together.
It is a scary thing to go to the doctor for anything. Definitely to go for screening for cancer. And no matter what the outcome, no matter what the news, having great support there is key to everything.
These survivors teach us that self-advocacy is so urgent in taking care of ourselves and finding, early detection. So it's up to us to push our doctors, our insurance companies, anything we can do to stay vigilant and, of course, to stay up on our screenings. And I'm going in for mine right after this, Robin.
And how are you feeling about that, Deb?
I'm a little nervous. I'm always a little nervous when I do these things, but, I'm also very hopeful, too.
I know. We'll be checking with you later. You know that. All right, Deb, take care.
Thank you.
So to hear you talk about your mortality did something to my soul. It just, I think I wrote something on Facebook to explain the feeling that I was feeling. I think this incident drew us closer to each other. It's almost like I'm like, oh, I don't want to lose my baby cousin. So that's when we reach out and get closer. What message would you tell family members that are so busy to make time for each other? Because you had a support system that was amazing to me. Let's talk about that. Your sister Juju came and stayed with you on and off. Your mother, I know, went down to Florida and stayed with you on and off. How important was that? How important is that for people that are going through this to have a support system like that?
It's extremely important. There's no way you're going to go through it without a support system. If you think you're going to go through it by yourself, you may lose the battle because it affects you mentally, emotionally, physically. You need somebody there. And not often, Juju could tell you, not often did I share what I was going through, but I know if I needed to, I could. And I also knew they wouldn't understand as well. I felt like they were already displaced from their home, staying with me, taking care of me. I did not want to put even more of a burden by telling them exactly what I was feeling or what I was going through. I mean, sometimes it was evident, but the fact that they were there supporting me, fighting for me, it allowed me to fight. It definitely allowed me to fight because, I was surrounded by love. I definitely, whether it was home, at work, I was definitely surrounded by love. At the hospital. So I fought.
So the love helped strengthen you to fight.
It did. It did. Because you
Now,
saw
do you?
people were fighting for you. People were pulling for you. So it's like, I need to pull for myself.
Okay. I know we all live in different cities and our family is big.
Huge.
So did you feel a difference in our relationship? Not just me, the other cousins, aunts, uncles. Did you feel a difference before and now? Or is it still the same relationships?
Yes and no. Because everybody deals with things differently.
Mhm.
Like, I have a cousin who I would speak to constantly. But because this cousin didn't know how to deal with it, this cousin regressed.
Mm.
So we were not constantly talking because it's like they couldn't wrap their brain around, you know, what I was going through.
And this is where you think that these things bring people closer, but sometimes it move you apart a little bit.
It does. When you have cancer, your family has cancer. It's not only you. And they try to, you know, hide it. I've had cousins till this day have not asked me one question
About that.
About cancer, has not even acknowledged that I've had it. And I've had to learn maybe that's the way you deal with it. And, you know, I used to be like, nobody's asking me questions. Nobody's saying anything. I remember my cousin Marsha, she called me crying, boo-hoo crying. Oh my God. Bert. I'm like, stop. We're not gonna cry, stop. And till this day, Marsha and I speak to each other every day. Every day would be a text. Hey girl, how you doing? What's going on? Tell me what's, you know, hi. You and I, we had our 9 a.m. Sunday morning calls.
Yes.
To
a point where if I don't do it now, it's like, oh, I didn't call. I feel it. It's like I didn't talk to Bernie today. I didn't talk to my. So.
And I can understand some people, they had to stand back because they didn't know how to take it. And I come to understand some people were all in. They rolled up their sleeves with me and was like, okay, what are we doing? And it took me some time to get there to understand everybody's reaction towards it.
Right.
You know, it's almost if your child is hurting, you hurt and you're like, what can I do to help? There's nothing I can do to help. You know, and a lot of my cousins, a lot of family members, they didn't see me when all my hair fell out until they saw the Good Morning America piece. And they were like, oh, whoa.
Yeah. I remember telling you, if your hair fall out, we will go bald together, but you didn't allow me to do that.
Yeah, girl, nobody wants to go bald together. I have my other cousins made a group chat that they named it Bernie Strong. And they said, okay, Bernie, if you lose your hair, we're gonna shave our heads. And one of my cousins said, girl, my marriage is not gonna survive a shaved head. So I was like, nobody's losing hair and no one's shaving their head. I really believed I wasn't gonna lose my hair.
Oh my goodness. But that was, you know, I was gonna be looking as fabulous and get my lashes on and get some professional makeup on. Let's rock the bald head. But see, you cute regardless. I don't know how cute I'll be with that.
It's interesting that you say I'm cute regardless. No, No.
That you are beautiful with that bald head. Come on.
With makeup on. No, I avoided the mirror for about a month and a half.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. I know we expected, I don't know if because some people don't lose their hair. We talked about, I know we mentioned it in my conversation. I'm not sure exactly what I said, but I felt like you weren't prepared when it started to happen.
No. I wasn't prepared because I didn't think it was going to happen. I was just like, everybody's different. You know, chemo, radiation, cancer affects everybody completely different. So I definitely was not prepared. I would get into the hospital and I would tell the nurses, get on the scale. And I'm like, listen, I'm here for the weight loss because I thought I was going to lose weight. You know, I always had something. I said, okay, if I need a double mastectomy, all right, they're going to take my boobs. All right, I'm going to tell them they could take the fat from my stomach when it's time for me to get my boobs back. Everything like was planned. And when I started to lose my hair, all the hairs went.
Wow.
All the hairs on your body, your private, your pubes, everything goes. Like your eyelashes, baby skin. And understand, I'm that girl, that woman that I'm getting my hair done, getting my lashes done, I'm getting my nails done. That was just a regular for me. That's regular maintenance for me. And to come to a point where I couldn't do that, I was mortified. I was definitely mortified. I'm a French manicure type of girl. You would never see me unless it's the holidays with colored nails. And then my nail beds begin to detach and my nails were turning black. So we could no longer do a French manicure without you seeing the black under my nails. So then, you know, my nail tech got creative and we were just doing colors and designs.
I remember being on the phone with you one time. You went to the nailery and she said, your nails is black. This color is not going to take on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to you, tell her to put a coat of white color under the color. And I'm assuming it worked because,
yeah. For my pedicure, yes.
On your pedicure. So it was both your hands. And I know that because I have a black toenail that will not take color. Because I banged it and it grew and it never got their color back. So I always have white. These are the things that that seems to be so minor, trivial, but this is what makes us women. Mm-hmm. We take pride in putting ourselves together and looking cute and looking good, nails done, hair done. So I was glad to see you with colored nail because I was personally tired of the
French manicure.
French manicure.
It's back.
It's back. Oh God. So I am so glad and honored that we can sit here and talk about this and laugh about this for you to look that good. It does something to my soul. Well, who am I to be sad about life? You know, how dare I?
It took a lot to get here. Like, you know, like I mentioned, I avoided the mirror because I did not recognize that woman looking back. I'm like, who is this person? I despised every minute of it. Every minute of it. And I think it was one morning I was getting ready and my sister Juju said, well, Bernie, why don't you just fill in your brows and do a strip of lashes. And I was just like, "Oh, I don't have time for that in the morning. I don't need to look in the mirror, just put my wig on and I'm just gonna keep it moving." And I think the next day I did. I filled in my brows, I put on a strip of lash, and I was just like, "Oh,
He's back.
I know her.
He's
Like,
back.
she's back." And I went to work and they were like, "Oh, Bernie," and that was hard. That was really, really, I can smile about it now, but that was really hard
I can
because
imagine. Throughout this whole process, what would you say was the hardest for you to muster?
relying on people, not
Mm,
being able to do things myself.
mm,
I'm that person who wants to do things on my own time. And, I need this done. Like, my daughter Brianna came to clean the bathroom for me. There were certain things I couldn't do. It took me longer to do things where I could just clean up and go through and go pop, 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 and I'm done. And I had to rely on people. And I'm that person also. I don't like to bother anyone, but I've learned to ask. This taught me to ask for help. Yeah, there was just a lot of just relying on people.
Wow. They did say that in the video, your doctors talked about the disparities in breast cancer. 12.5% of all new cancer cases worldwide, about 13%, 1 in 8 of US women are going through. They expect us to get it. I don't know. I don't like these studies, but it is what it is. Maybe it's a reality that we don't like to deal with. Do you think it was helpful for you to know what cancer would do to you, and that you have a bigger chance of catching breast cancer than the other group? Did that make a difference?
It did make a difference because we don't talk about breast cancer in Black women often, which is why I love the Good Morning America piece and the direction that they were going in with that piece. We just weren't talking about breast cancer. We were talking about breast cancer in Black women. And believe it or not, Black women are more likely than white women to get triple negative breast cancer. And that's the cancer that I have. Negative in my estrogen, negative in my progesterone, and negative in my HER2. So it was important for me to show Black women that there is help out there. Studies work, treatment works. If I can help someone, if I can talk to someone about what I'm going through and guide them, I feel as though that I would make a difference. Making sure that you're checking yourself, because let's think about it. Black women, we're mothers, fathers, sisters, granddaughters, aunts. We're taking care of everybody else. We're taking care of a whole lot of people, and we're not taking care of ourselves. You're like, okay, if I can, and I'm guilty of that too. If I can sleep maybe 2 hours and take a nap and then go do this, sometimes working 7 days a week, working 2 jobs to make ends meet, or to do whatever it is that we need to do, or, oh, I don't have time to go to the doctor, or depending upon where you are in life, I don't have that copay right now to go to the doctor, so I'd rather not. Or depending on where you work, I don't want to take the day off to go to work because that I need to work. I don't think my boss is going to give me half a day for me to leave early or to come in later, depending upon where you are in your life. And I felt that I wanted to show that you can do all of these things and take care of yourself as a Black woman. and advocate for yourself.
And advocate for yourself. Winner just asked, is there anything you would do differently since the day you found out? As far as, I guess, treatment, lifestyle.
No.
That's a good thing. That's wonderful.
There's
That's wonderful because when you at peace with the way you go through something, you did what you did with the information that you had, you move forward. That's a wonderful thing. There's nothing you would change in that process.
No, my doctor was really clear with me. She said, once you tell everyone, once you tell people that you have breast cancer, everybody's a doctor. That's exactly what they will tell you. Oh, don't eat this or don't do that, or they're going to send you all the research that there is. They're going to tell you maybe you should get a second opinion. You could go the natural route. You don't have to take these poisons in your body. And so said, so done. Everyone had an opinion on what I should do and what I shouldn't do.
Wow.
I trusted my team, which was extremely important. I trusted my team. I trusted my doctors. And
why did you trust them? Is it because they were transparent, or is it because they made you comfortable? Is it just your intuition, your feeling that you were at the right place? What it is that made you trust them?
It was all of that. My intuition, because I'm big on energy. If I don't like your energy, yeah, no. I could meet you in the first millisecond that I meet you. Yeah, I don't like this person. And like, you don't know the person. Yeah, I don't like this person. And it's just, it's an energy thing. I like their energy. I liked how transparent they were. I liked how they dotted their I's, crossed their T's. They made themselves available to me. Their team made themselves available to me. And
that's important.
My breast surgeon, Dr. Hain, he would always say, God bless you. They had that faith. And that faith for me was extremely important. Even our last, my last checkup with him, he said, okay, do you feel that you need to do another breast checkup in 6 months? I mean, I think it either was in a month or another 6 months. And I said, no. He was like, okay, we won't do it. And he said, you know what? I love your faith. You know you won't need it. And that made it important. Even when he put my port in, typically some people get their port right here, like in the middle of their chest. He made sure that he put my port closer to the crease under my arm. And I remember coming out of surgery and Brianna said, Dr. Haynes said he put your port there because when you're done and treatment is over and you want to wear something sexy and revealing, nobody's going to see it there.
Wow.
So he thought about me.
He thought about you. He sees that you miss sexy.
He had already put it out there. She's got, like, when she's done with all of this and she wants to wear something low cut, they won't see her
wow.
Her mark.
Wow. That's a good segue to bring this piece for the guys. Breast cancer affects men as well. 1 out of 100 men, breast cancer cases is a man. We have 1 out of 8. They have 1 out of 100. So it's very rare for them, but it happens. I was hit by it. My husband, Michael Wilson, had breast cancer the year before you have breast cancer. And because I see what it put him through as a man. The only difference is I got more information from you by talking to you than I ever did talking to him. But when I look at him, I can tell he was suffering. The treatment weren't easy on him. So I asked him questions. How do you feel? And at the time we had so much more we were going through, to a point where I felt like I neglecting them because I couldn't even go to his appointment with them. His brothers, it's a good thing he had several siblings because there was so much going on. Maya was sick as well. And I was going. And then when I stop and says, how are you doing? I wouldn't get it. I'm good. We're gonna get through it. So that's all I get from him. But yes, it affects men. His port was right on his chest. Although he doesn't,
tops.
He wasn't gonna have sexy. So it's funny you said that. I have to keep that in mind because the cut on his breast is, I've seen men and women being cut straightforward like this. So it's a blessing that you didn't have to go through such invasive operation. With men, I don't think they need a breast, but who am I to say? Who am I to say what they need? So it would be up to him. But I don't hear him say, I'm gonna put in a breast. I have a friend who had a double mastectomy. She removed both breasts and had to reconstruct the breast with fat from her body. So it can be it's a lot. It's a lot for your body. I think the treatment itself, I remember my husband's skin became like a grayish color. I didn't see that in you. I don't know if you add makeup when I talk to you, when I see you, but you always look fabulous, like you say. So we need to, it's not just a man, it's not just a woman thing, it's also a men thing. Please, men, take the time to, just like we do the check, just like we do the testing at home, pay attention to your body, get to know your body, feel your body, know your body. So that's our mission that's Bernadette's mission, because she's going all over the world talking about this breast cancer. According to breastcancer.org, Black women are more likely to die. We talked about that. Experts believe that it's partially because about 1 in 5 Black women. So it's less than the rest of the world, but because of the lack of resources, it kills us faster. Is that how I'm understanding it?
I think that number, when did you get that number? That number might have changed.
Oh.
What I'm saying, what I'm reading is it says experts believe that it's partially because about 1 in 5 Black women is diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer more than any other racial or ethnic group.
Mm-hmm.
Breast cancer has the highest mortality rate in women from ages 20 to 59, and African-American women have a 31%. I'm lying. It's in the 40% breast cancer mortality rate, and that is the highest of any U.S. racial group.
The last one says, breast cancer is the leading cause of cancer-related death in the United States for Black women and Hispanic women.
More than likely, and it is the lack of resources, the lack of education towards it. These women are working. Sometimes maybe their jobs have health care. Some jobs don't offer health insurance. Mm-hmm. And I understand with Obamacare that you're paying for your own health insurance. You'd be surprised about how many people go without. because like, yeah, you want me to pay for this, but I really can't afford it.
Wow.
And depending upon the hospitals or the doctors that you're seeing, you're not getting the best care. And, you know, Haitians sometimes do it. You have a headache, go drink some tea. Go do this. Before you know it, you know, it's something completely different than what you think it is. You know, and a lot of people, I've come to notice a lot of people are scared to go to the doctor. They're like, I'd rather not know. If I'm
That's
dying,
true.
don't let me know. I'd rather not know. Let me just keep living my life until I can't.
My mother, when I told my mom, do you know that Bernie has breast cancer? Oh, pakitel met poison, just like your doctor says. Do not put this poison in her body. I can give her medicine. I said, oh Lord.
Oh,
Mom,
and she has
please.
sent me stuff.
She did send you off.
Of course. You know, a lot of, and I'm not going to say that it did not work or did not help. My ex-mother-in-law, a lot of people, my cousins, a lot of people have sent me Faye. Now I don't even know how to say Faye in English. They've sent me things to make tea.
Okay.
And I was drinking a whole lot of tea before I started cancer treatment, because my doctor was specific with me and said, do not take anything other than what we're giving you if it's not over-the-counter medication. Do not drink no tea, do not drink a concoction, do not take anything else. So I've had a lot of people before then. I've had a coworker, her father came from Puerto Rico and he brought me Osson. So I've had a lot of teas before I started my actual treatment that I was drinking every day.
Wow. Wow. So you so you listen to your doctors and go away with the tea, and somebody says thank you for your transparency. So that's nice. That's, yeah. Putting all this together, all this information that you have, what advice would you give, do you have for others?
Well, we're reading it right there. That I've always said, cancer is not a death sentence. It is definitely a life sentence. Not that I wasn't living before. I definitely was living before. I've never stopped living, but not once did I think that I was going to die, because I know we have done a lot of work in cancer research. So there was not one moment during my process that I think I was going to die. There was a moment that I no longer wanted to go through chemo anymore because it was so hard. My cycle 5 through 8, I have received what we call the red devil in cancer, and it did a number on me, and I was really feeling ill. And I said to my doctor, you know what, I really don't want to do this anymore because I really don't feel good, and I just miss feeling like myself. And yeah, wasn't the advice I give, fight. There is no reason not to fight. There is no reason not to fight at all. And I know you get tired, and I've been there. I was tired. I was like, I can't do this anymore, but I continued to fight because I wanted to win this battle.
Yeah, and I often say, if anybody can fight this battle, it's my Bernie. It's my Bernie. Would you like to talk? Let me see if there's any more comments on Facebook. Any questions, Facebook? Thank you, everybody on Facebook, for being part of this. Thank you, Bernie. Here's Bernie with her beautiful family.
I see Weena has a question.
Wina has a question. What is the question?
How has this diagnosis changed you?
Ah, that's a great question.
It's a really good question. I would like to think that I have come to a point where I take it easy. I don't sweat the small stuff. You might beg to differ, but I think I've become like, okay has become my favorite word. I'm not going back and forth with you. I'm not fighting with you. Like, you don't want to do, okay. I don't have to, I'm not convincing anyone to do anything anymore. I think I have a bit more of an insight. Like, if something is happening, I really don't think it's the end of the world. I've become a bit more humble. God had to do a work in me. And he could not do that work with me surrounded by people. He had to take me and put me over here. I had to isolate you. I had to remove you to do the work that I need to do in you. I could not do this work with people around you. And I believe that's what he did.
Wow.
I can tell you, we can disagree on something and I'll just keep it moving. We could disagree and I can still say, so we having drinks later or what we doing? I'm not gonna take it. If I don't mess with you, I don't mess with you. If I mess with you, I mess with you. I'm not, I think I've become more of that person. More of, life is so beautiful. Life is so beautiful to live. And I don't have the patience nor the time for somebody who, or things that no longer serve me.
Especially after you had to muster all the energy, all the courage you had to go through this process. Everything else seems so irrelevant.
Irrelevant. That is, it seems so irrelevant. You want to do this, you want to do that, you want to fight about, okay, all right. You know,
but I'm gonna keep on leaving.
I'm gonna keep on living. This is what I'm about to do. You know, I've always been deemed difficult.
You have to make up for the height, you know, you had to make up for the height.
And somewhere. And I'm like, I'm not difficult. I'm clear. My boundaries are clear. My boundaries have become even more clearer.
Awesome.
You know, I'm going to tell you, if you speak to me in a way that I don't like, I've always been able to tell you. But I will tell you, I don't like the way you're talking to me. Or I don't appreciate the way you talk. I mean, if I don't want to do something, I don't want to do it. And that's it. Like saying no, oof. I've learned to say no. Like, yeah, no, I can't be in two places at once. I'm too old for that. It's either or. Either you want me in the morning or you want me in the evening. And not even feel guilty about it.
So you have a big birthday coming up. I know you always celebrate big. However, can you believe that she will be 50 years old?
Why are you telling me this?
Well, if you're 50 and you look that good, you should share this business. You should share it. So I know this birthday is gonna be super big to celebrate this life of yours. Do you want to share your plans for this 50th?
I do not want to share my plans.
Okay.
I see that was one of the things. Like that now I can say something I want and I keep it moving. I do not want to share
yet.
I do not want to share yet. But
knowing
I will.
Knowing you, I know it will be big. Because after this is the year of cancer free. This is very fresh. This happened. Do you still have the port?
I still have my port.
See, it's very fresh. to be able to do all this, and I was trying to pull the article that's in the hospital, your healthcare people, I can't seem to pull it. I think I closed it on Michael's phone because I had pulled it and it's a mess. But having said that, I wish I could share it with people to see, at least give them a little clips. And I think I'll put it at the bottom of the Facebook Live so people can take a look at it later, once I get my life together. But I cannot thank you enough. I am so grateful and honored that you take the time to share your journey with everybody. I know it's gonna touch a lot of lives. Yes, cancer is hard, but you make it look good. You make it look easy. With a smile on your face. You went through it with so much grace, with so much strength and courage. Hats off to you, my love. You know how much I love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Facebook Live. Thank you for getting on. Thank you for participating. Share this live. You might save somebody's life. Early detection is key for breast cancer. This is the month you should really push and get your mammogram. The men, I don't think the men can get mammogram. They can do a what is it called?
They can self-check.
Self-check, and the thing that they do for the pregnant people, what is it? Sonogram. They can do a sonogram for men. If you feel something is not right, get it checked ASAP. That's Bernadette's message to everybody. I can't thank you enough. I love you, cousin. We'll talk soon.
We will.
Let me say this to say, this is such a nice picture I found on Facebook, and the children, that this is for the walk. They walk. They're gearing up this year again to do the same thing over and over again. And Bernie, keep on keeping on. Talk to these newspapers, talk to the Good Morning Americas, all the TV shows that would listen. Go ahead and spread the word, my love. I'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon.